Are you guys ready for some set 6 spice? That was hard to say. Here we go, guys. Welcome to LoreGainz. My name is Alvin. Today we are covering 8 spicy deck lists that we played over the last 2 weeks on live stream. So if you didn't see the videos, go and check them out. See how these decks do on live stream. But having that said, let's cover these decks starting with Sugar Rush Speedway. We have a very fun deck that we played. So this was a blast. It was a really good time. I don't think it's tier 1. Not at all. But it's tier 1 in fun, guys. So the gist of it is being aggro and using Sugar Rush Speedway to draw cards and gain 3 lore. So that's why we're running the Daisy Duck at 4. She's a 1/4 quest for 2. She's a powerhouse. She can help you get to 20 as fast as you can. The Moana is awesome. She's a 1-drop 3/2, one of the best stat lines in the game for a 1-drop. And her ability says the character can't challenge unless you have a captain character in play. But she's going to be questing most of the time, so that doesn't really matter. If they want to trade into her, she's going to exchange. She's definitely going to trade with the other character. Our Taffeta Mutton Fudge says when you play this character, have your location in play, each opponent loses 1 lore. But she has the shift, which is very, very strong. She shifts on 2, and the shift character says, once per turn, when this character moves to a location, you gain 2 lore. So if you have her out in play, you move her to your Sugar Rush Speedway for free, you gain 2 lore, just like that. And that's why we're also running the Flynn Rider, because Moana 1-drop, having 3 strength, and Flynn Rider pair up really well. We have the Mother Gothel there to draw cards off of Rapunzel, the Moana to fend off characters, to challenge, to help speed up the lore gains, and she pairs up really well with Rapunzel as well, because of her full willpower. Tuk, he's evasive, so he can deal with the Diablo and move one of your characters for free to another location. That didn't really come up too much, but the ability to gain 2 strength off one of your characters was very good. He's like a pseudo crab, and he's evasive, so that was probably the highlight. Could be a flex spot, or maybe works a little better in a deck with more locations. Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see through the testing how that works out. Penelope 1 Streets is new, and her ability says at the start of your turn, if this character is at a location, you draw a card and gain 1 lore. It's a very, very good ability, especially when you have Sugar Rush Speedway and can move her in there for free. The Rapunzel's there for the draws, the Goofy's there to gain you extra free lore just by challenging. He has Rush. Our Maui is there to clear characters, Brawl to remove, and the island I pulled from the sea, says song 3 to sing, or 3-cost character can sing this. Search your deck for a location card, reveal that card, and put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. So you can grab any of the Sugar Rush Speedways that you need to complete this combo. I did run the Cindy 1-drop that sings for 3, but she was just there for this song, so it didn't really make much sense using her just for one job. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. But the Island I Pulled from the Sea, I ended up playing it or singing it most of the time with my 3-cost singers, and to find me the Speedway, and you can essentially play the Sugar Rush Speedway, and you can play both Sugar Rush Speedways and pop them off on turn 4, as long as you have a character, of course. So that ended up working out really, really well. Next list, LoreGainz, burning it up, set 6. So shout out to Luxury Gaming. They created this deck and made top 8. So awesome, guys. Thank you so much for bringing this deck into our lives and having those experience. The power of burn. So burn essentially means you're gaining lore alternative to questing, I guess. Something along those lines. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the game plan of this deck is to get to 20 extremely fast. If you're at 10 with this deck, you're very close to winning. You're extremely close to winning. So you want to see your turn box followers on your Diablo in your opening hand. You want your 1-drop, especially because these guys replace themselves. They draw you a card, they help you filter out, and they're going to quest for 1 at least. The Cusco, same thing. The Merlin Crab combined with the Diablo or Cusco feels exceptional. They banish themselves, you draw a card, and your crab's going to hang out on the field. 3/3, such a such a powerhouse. The White Rose could be a flex spot. I don't know. I did like her. She comes down. She has decent stat line. She's like a slightly worse Merlin goat, but she comes out on 3. You gain in lore once she's played. The Goofy, I mean, he just contributes to you gaining lore. He gains 2 lore on challenge. Even if you don't banish their character, he still gains the 2 lore. The Maui, to fend off characters, the Maui Shark. We got 2 Mauis in this deck. So the Maui Shark says evasive 7/5. Stat line's very good. Whenever this character challenges another character, you may return an action card from your discard to your hand. So he doesn't have to banish the character. He just has to challenge it. You can get back any single action that you want. It can be a B prep, a brawl, gathering knowledge, thievery. And when you get one of these actions back, you can play it out. And Maui says whenever you play an action, you gain 1 lore. So that's just going to speed up your lore gains even more. Thievery is a new action. It's kind of like a Pirate's Life, but it only costs 1 and you can't sing it. But it gains you lore and your opponent loses lore. With Maui on the field, you gain 2, your opponent loses 1. Solid, solid, solid. Gathering knowledge contributes to the game plan. Brawl for removal, prep for removal. You want to remove as fast. I mean, you get to 7, you want to remove your opponent's board because your castle and your library is going to stay on the board and they're going to keep gaining you lore. Plus, most of the stuff that you play out is going to contribute to getting you to 20 as fast as you can, especially the Amethyst Chronicon, which is an MVP. Absolutely MVP, guys. You play at 3 Chronicons, you're drawing cards. You're just drawing cards, but you have the ability to use these cards more efficiently than your opponent. If your opponent's stacked with like 15 cards in hand and you're refueling your hand and just playing everything out, you're going to get to 20 faster than them. So there's more value. Your cards had more value than your opponent. Next list is Steel Song, one of my favorite decks. Well, Amber Steel is my favorite color combo. But this is like the, I guess, traditional Amber Steel songs with the Whole New World and all the other songs, the singers and whatnot. But we did test this one out and I felt a little rusty with it, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun going back to my roots. I've been on the Mufasa grind, so that Mufasa just feels very, very natural to me. But we have the Cinderella 1-drop that can sing us a Storm or a Strength of Raging Fire. Daisy Duck to draw, pairs up with Rapunzel to draw cards because of her 4 willpower, but she can quest and give your opponent cards. But if they do have a lot of cards in their hand, you can just Whole New World them away, which is also a really good ability from Daisy Duck. Or if you Whole New World, you see some daisies, you slap them down, and they're going to quest for 2 next turn. The Queen, I really like the Queen shift because the 2 slot is not too saturated. There's only Cajon and Mr. Smee. That versus a big Robin Hood. I'd much rather play like a Lawrence or an Ariel on turn 3 and have my Queen locked up and ready on turn 2 to sing any song that Ariel rips, or Ariel hits. Cajon is a really cool addition. She is an inkable, which doesn't feel the best at sometimes, but she does get the job done. She gains you 2 lore when she banishes a character. She's kind of like a Robin Hood. She has resist 2, comes down on turn 2. Very solid. Mr. Smee, again, he has damage. Rapunzel heals him up, draws you some cards. Lawrence is a 4/4, super, super good. We are trying out the Pluto. He's a 5/5 bodyguard with no damage. If he has damage, he loses 4 strength. And he plays really well on curve. He can protect your little characters from being challenged. And we're testing him out at 4 because we want to see more copies and see how he works out in this deck. So far, he's been okay. Not 100% convinced on him yet. Then again, I've only played, what? How many games did we play with him? 3 games? 4 games? On live, but yeah. Cinderella's at 3 because she comes down and she wreaks havoc, guys. She is a powerhouse, 5/5, resist 2, and challenge ready characters when you sing a song, when you play a song. Awesome. 4 strength, 4 storm, 3 Zeus, and 4 Whole New World. We are stacked with a lot of songs. That's the name of the game here with this deck. Moving on to the next one. Oh my god, I love this deck. This is my favorite deck. We gave in to the green steel, guys. We gave in to the green steel, but we're playing pirates and locations. It's different, so it's cool. Diablo 1-drop because his shift is the best draw engine, one of the best draw engines in the game. I'm like taking it back. People are like, what do you mean? How about this card? But he is one of the best draw engines in the game. We're also playing the Captain Hook and the Smee because they're both pirates. And the John Silver, Also Parrot and the Captain. That morph has a few shift targets. We can shift Big Beast, Big Tink, and Big John Silver onto him and just wreck their boards or draw a bunch of cards like the Beast does. You can also shift onto Diablo or shift the Diablo onto him, which comes up sometimes, not too often. Most of the times I want to shift onto the Beast. But we are running the John Silver, which gets beefier with the more locations you have. The Daisy Duck, guys, Daisy is so good. Her ability says whenever one of your pirate characters quests while at this location, draw a card. John Silver, Mr. Smee, Captain Hook, John Silver, Big John Silver. They're all characters. They're all pirate characters, and so is the Daisy Duck. Even if she quests while at a location and it's not once per turn, you're gonna draw a card. And I made sure that our locations cost only 1 to move. So we have the Hidden Cove, the Bayou, and the Perilous Maze. Tinkerbell came up a lot of times, and so did the Beast. It felt so good dropping the Beast on 3. John Silver, oh my goodness, this guy is insane. He costs 8 to play outright, but if you shift, you can do it for 5 ink. What a solid discount. You get a 3 ink discount. He has 2 resist, 6/6, quest for 2, and at the start of your turn, you deal 1 damage to each opposing ready character. That came up a lot of times too. We're running the Baboom at 4 for those pesky opposite Diablos. We don't want them, but we want our Diablo on the field. Let the Storm Rage on at 4, Strength at 4 because we need the removal in this deck. Hidden Cove at 4 because it's okay if we have 3 on the board with a John Silver. It feels really good to have a 3 resist character or 3 resist John Silver that quests for 4. The Bayou, because again, it's a 1-drop location and you can move them in there for 1. It did come up a few times, actually a lot of times, where you play the Bayou out, you move a few little pirates in there, and they quest. Daisy Duck allows you to draw a card, then you draw another one with Bayou and you discard. So it's a really good way to filter out through your hand. And we're not playing a lot of uninkables in this deck, guys. That's really, really good. I love that about this deck. We're only playing 4 Diablos, 4 Storm, that's 8, and that's it. Yeah, low on uninkables, and I love that. It felt so consistent. Hidden Cove, MVP, absolute MVP. Bayou as well. Perilous Maze, we're trying out. Not fully committed or not fully convinced on it, but it is a location. We're gonna keep trying stuff out. That's what the testing's for, guys. And again, if you have any suggestions for any single deck that we're covering today, let me know down in the comments or join the Discord. The Discord, we have a sub channel where we talk about our deck list, where we share the sauce, that's what it's called. And we can talk about deck lists and what we're playing and give suggestions. It's fun. It's a really cool community building way to build community. Here we go, green red. I love this deck as well. Guys, every deck with new cards just feels so much fun. But we are running the Diablos for the draws, the Ursula to snipe stuff out of our opponent's hands, the Prince Johns because we are running a few discard cards. So this is a discard heavy deck. The Muses for the aggro to bounce stuff back to your opponent's hands. The Robin Hood, if he was inkable, oh my goodness. If he was inkable, I would be so happy. Unfortunately, he's not. And fortunately, we are running Strike a Good Match. So if we don't need him, we can just discard him away. But that's how it goes, guys. Maui to challenge Lady Tremaine to remove characters off our opponent's board. And Maui Shark is there because we have a lot of actions. And if we could get those actions back, would be really, really nice. Plus, he gains a lore. We gain a lore when you play an action while he's on the field. Scar to remove characters. And Thievery, because Thievery and Maui say, play Thievery, gain 2 lore, your opponent loses 1 lore. Strike, we went over that. Chill, because Prince John. Hypnotize, because Prince John. Mother Knows Best for removal. You came back, because you came back with crazy things like Robin Hood play really well. Double hit with Maui somehow. Maui Shark challenging, then playing You Came Back, then challenging again, getting 2 locations. There are 2 actions back. Feels really good. You Came Back says ready chosen character, by the way. It costs 3. It is uninkable, but going back to Strike a Good Match, we can just discard it and get it back with our Maui. So that works out really well sometimes. Brawl for removal. We don't talk about Bruno for removal, and Hidden Cove to protect our dudes. All right, next deck, Blue Steel Gainz Range. This is not the typical ramp, play big time Otoa and win. This one, we have to work a little harder. We have to challenge, quest to win. But we are running the Captain Hook, the Calhoun, so we have a decent curve here. It's going to play out on curve, so it's more like a tempo deck. The Calhoun is awesome paired up with the Cogsworth. It can help you gain lore, lore gains. Mr. Smee also great with the Cogsworth because it doesn't deal damage, but if you have the Captain Hook, it's not going to deal anyways. So the curve of Captain Hook into Smee, into Lawrence feels very good. We're also running the awesome draw engine of Hiram Flaversham because I found myself running out of gas, and having the access to Flaversham and the items felt pretty good. If you don't need them, you can just ink them away. If you want to just aggro out, you just ink them away, or you can hold them for whenever you want to draw. But usually the game plan was empty out, gas out, then you hear them, draw some more cards, and you see your powerhouses. The Pluto, because he is a 4-cause and he plays really well into the curve. He is a 5/5 with resist if there's a Cogsworth on the field. And he also protects the rest of your little characters from being banished and being challenged. The Cogsworth, MVP, resist to all of your other characters, plus he's ward. Gansu came up quite a few times, especially with the Alice. Questing with Alice, giving him ward plus an extra quest was pretty good because they have to challenge into him to remove him. Tinkerbell to remove, Wreck-It Ralph, major flex spot. I think Wreck-It Ralph fits better into a traditional deck where you can ink him away. Or ramp into playing him, because most of the time he was either stuck in our hand and we were wishing we could just chuck him away, or we played him out but it felt a little too slow. Like yeah, it just felt a little slow, guys. But let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know what you suggest. I'm open to suggestions, guys. I'm not perfect. But boom at 2 for the Diablos. Strength, Zeus, swords, let it go, all for removal. We need removal. If we're behind, then these cards are going to be very, very clutch. I love the strength and the boom and the let it go because they are inkable. So if you don't need to remove anything and you need to ink to play out your beefy characters, that's what they're there for. Shout out to Sean on this one. Sean Idea right here, one of my good buddies. The gist of this deck: empty your hand, play Clarabelle, draw a bunch of cards, find your lucky dime and your bell, win. Oh no, prepare your bot, lucky dime twice, and win. So you want to see your TPO, you want to see your ramp, and you want to see your draw engine. But the ramp is the most important because you do have quite a few draw engines, the Clarabelle and the Flaversham. We're playing the Muses for the aggro builds. This deck does lose to aggro, so the Muses and the Under the Sea help you with that. The Bell helps you ink your hand away, and she's going to quest for 5 if you have 10 or more ink. Flaversham's going to draw you cards. Gothel's going to bounce stuff back to your opponent's hand, and Clarabelle, Gothel pair up really well because if your opponent has more cards in hand, then Clarabelle is going to draw you more cards. Prepare your bot. This card is nutty. It readies your dime so you can dime again. Usually it came down to playing the dime. If I was pretty sure they couldn't remove my dime, play the dime, and then the next turn you play the bell, you prepare your bot, and you double dime. That felt really solid. There was a few times, actually a lot of times, where I had the bell, quested for 5, bot dime for 15, which felt wrong, felt so wrong, but good to be on the playing side of it. Hefflumps and Woozles, another good card. It's a new one, only costs 2 to sing. Says chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn, you draw a card. So it replaces itself and it slows down your opponent from beating you or aggroing you out. We have 1 jump ahead and sell the Azurite Sea, which is an awesome blue card that was just added. There's a lot of inkables in this deck, so sail works very, very well because you have to ink an inkable on this one, guys. It says this turn you may put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down and you draw a card. Also, the sequencing on this one, I didn't know, but I learned afterwards. Thanks to the chat. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to you. When you play Azurite Sea, sell the Azurite Sea, you draw a card and you can ink whenever the heck you want during that turn. It doesn't have to be immediately, which is really cool. So it's not like a tipo or a fishbone quill. You do ink it face up, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or it has to be an inkable for sure. But I don't remember if you ink it face up. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Vision of the Future is there to search for the perfect cards for you to win. It allows you to dig 5 cards, which feels really good. You're welcome if you can bounce and remove. Sorry, bounce. It removes it removes anything and puts it back into that controller's deck, and that controller draws 2 cards. So this and Clarabelle work really well. Plus, it's a removal. It can remove any single thing you want. Under the Seas, they're at 3. If you don't need it, you can quill it or tipo it away. But it's there for aggro, because again, aggro is going to be tough to deal with, and Under the Sea plus Ice Block work really well. Popsicle for draws, Fishbone Quota Ramp, and Lucky Dime to win games. You can ink it away if you don't need it to, the dime. We have a few ways, the tipo and the Fishbone Quo. And I think that's it. Okay, guys, next one, let's do it. Oh my God, my favorite deck. I keep saying that. This is my ultimate favorite because, you know, in Nat's invite. But this deck is, I've been grinding this deck because I love it and it's my favorite so far. I think a close second is or a close first is the Green Steel. The Green Steel Pirates is also one of my favorites right now. But we made a few adjustments to our original list. Obviously, the Pluto is new and we're testing him out. He's at 2, but we might bump him up to 4 and drop the Champo just so we can test him out a little better, so we can see him and see how he plays out. But we are running the Cinderella and we're running 6, 7, 8 songs. Cinderella can sing Strength or Storm. This comes up so much, and we are running low songs. We're running 8, which is, I think, is a decent ratio for Mufasa, so that way Mufasa doesn't hit one of these songs. But again, we need to do some more testing and see how it feels with 8. Daisy Duck is there because she has 4 willpower, pairs with Rapunzel, and she quests for 2. And sometimes if I don't have another 1-drop, I just play her out. I just outright play her out. She's great into red-blue though. She's really good into blue steel as well. Piglet, he's a powerhouse. He quests for 3. What an MVP. Look at him. He's also a captain and a pirate. What a badass. Mr. Smee, because he quests for 2. He's a 3/3. Awesome into red-blue. Doc to ramp you into your 5 costs. If you're going first, Doc, quest, play a beast on turn 4 feels very good. Even a Champo. But I'm gonna cut him and try out Pluto. Yeah, we'll see about that. Lawrence, I love the Lawrence. Great into the red blues as well. His 4/4 stat line is nothing to mess with, guys. Pete for the song decks. Rapunzel for your draw necessities. Tinkerbell, because her and Big Tink are amazing together. Shift into this Tink. And so many times where I play this Tink and I see a Big Tink, I add it to my hand, and I'm just questing with my characters, and my opponent's like, I don't want to turn my cards sideways because I know what you have in hand. But yeah, that comes up quite a few times. I love that interaction. Pluto Bodyguard, he's a 5/5 if he's not injured, if he doesn't have any damage on him. He works really well on curve, and that's why we're also playing the Zeus, because he can sing Zeus and so can Tinkerbell. Mufasa the MVP. If you don't need Mufasa, you just ink him away, but he is great into the red decks. He replaces himself, and he has a cool name. Beast for the draws. Talked about Chimpo, awesome bodyguard, 4/7, pairs with Rapunzel extremely well. Tinkerbell for removal. Cinderella, oh my God, MVP. Cinderella on turn 4, shifting onto Small Cindy is the best thing in the world, guys. Storm at 3, Strength at 3, and Zeus at 2 for removal. We'll see how these ratios work out, guys. But I've been having a lot of fun with this deck. Guys, that's it. We've covered all our decks. If you have any suggestions, hop into our Discord, guys. Post on the sauce. Let us know what you're playing and what you think of the other decks that are being posted on there too. It builds community. It's awesome. Shout out to all of our YouTube members. Appreciate you guys. If you want to be a member, check the description down below. Check out all the deets. There's some really cool perks that come with it. And having that said, I will see you tomorrow. We're going live. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like, kind of like we're doing here today, let me know in the description as well, or in the comments below. Appreciate you guys. Peace.